Power to the truth. This is Margo. This is Sunday, April 21st, 2019, 7 p.m. Pacific Time, United States of America. So we've got another methane report from Nostradoomus. I'm kind of squeaky again. I've been cleaning some more, so I'm still reacting. So pardon me if I'm a little squeaky and have to clear my throat. It's just the way it is. So Nostradoomus, aka Dave from the UK, sent us his weekly update on methane. He's monitoring methane from the NOAA website, and he's recording it every Saturday at these different millibars or HPAs, 931, 706, 477, and 300 from the two METOP satellites, METOP 1 AM and PM and METOP 2 AM and PM. And then he's doing an analysis of what's happened since last week. So he goes, "Hello Margo and everyone. Here is the latest methane data, parts per billion, provided by NOAA, April 20th, 2019. And so here's the data, and I put it in a spreadsheet, and we're going to look at that in a second. He continues, "This week I've broken down my analysis to look at the mean changes at each level in the atmosphere. All figures are showing a drop in concentration. For 931 millibars, a drop of 1.5 parts per billion. For 706 millibars, a drop of 2.25 parts per billion. 477 millibars, 3.25 parts per billion. And 300 millibars at 0.5 parts per billion. I hope to identify some trends at each level during the coming weeks as the levels start to rise again, which they surely will due to the seasonality of its behavior. We should initially begin seeing increases at lower altitudes as time goes on. The overall mean drop over the previous 7 days comes in at 1.875 parts per billion. Love, Dave." Thank you, Dave. And much love to you. We appreciate your consistency with recording this data and getting it to us so that we can kind of follow along. And what you've shown and what we've seen on the graphs is this is the time of year that methane should be dropping or going down in the atmosphere, and then it starts going up in the summer through the winter time. So, but in March we were not seeing that. We were seeing it going up. So, in light of that, I'm going to move that over here. I have the spreadsheet ready. Here's the spreadsheet that I've created. Let's see if it's in the recording zone. It looks like everything is. And so here's METOP 1 AM, METOP 1 PM, METOP 2 AM, and METOP 2 PM. And here are the dates. And he actually started this with 477 millibars on March the 1st. And then on March the 9th, he started tracking the 4 different levels. He expanded his research data. So, but I've put it back to March the 1st, and for myself, I'm tracking the 477 millibars. So here's the data for this week, and so we can see on the numbers they definitely went down. Well, this one level, 300 millibars, went up to from last week to this week on the Met 1 AM, but everything else went down. Oh, I heard something that scared me. And so for 477 millibars, it's gone down to 2 parts per billion since last week there. But since March the 1st, it's still 4 parts per billion higher. That's better than 8 or 10 parts per billion. Then on Met 1 PM, it looks like 931 stayed the same. 706 went up 1. 477 went down 4 here, and 300 millibars went down 1. And so for 477, it went down 4 parts per billion this last week, but it's still 4 parts per billion higher than where we started on March the 1st. Now on Met 2 AM, since last week, at 931 millibars, it's gone down 2 parts per billion. At 706 millibars, it's gone down 5 parts per billion. And at 477 millibars, it's gone down 5 parts per billion, right there. And at 300 millibars, it's gone down 1. And again with 477, it's 4 parts per billion higher than March the 1st. And then for Met 2 PM, for 931 millibars, it went up 2 parts per billion. At 706 millibars, it went down 2 parts per billion. At 477 millibars, it went down 3 parts per billion. Oh, I'm on the wrong week. Sorry. Let's start over. I'm out of it. Okay, 931 millibars, it's gone down 2. 706 millibars, it's gone down 1. 477 millibars, it's gone down 2, right there. And 300 millibars, it's gone down 2. And since March the 1st, it's up 3. So overall, my calculations are that the 477 this last week dropped by 3.25 parts per billion, which jived with Dave's calculation. And overall, since March the 1st, it's gained overall 3.75 parts per billion at 477 millibars. And here's our ledger down here, in case people are not familiar with millibars or hectopascal HPA. This is how it's sea level pressure, and it's basically how high up in the atmosphere the reading is. So 931 millibars equals 1,000 feet up, or 304 meters. 706 millibars is about 10,000 feet up, or 3,048 meters. 477 millibars is about 20,000 feet up, or 6,096 meters. And 300 millibars is 30,000 feet high, which is equivalent to 9,144 meters. So as you get higher in the atmosphere, these millibar numbers drop. So that's a little confusing until you get used to that. So there's Dave's report and my spreadsheet report of the NOAA data from this week. Thank you, Dave. We appreciate that. And now we're going to look at CAM's methane. They just put up new methane data from yesterday, and they're actually current until today. And they just put it up a little while ago, so they've got 4 days worth of data up. So we're going to look at yesterday, Saturday the 20th, and this is from Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Services. We're going to start with the Arctic view and surface level. So I have the movie loaded, but what we're seeing, so where it ended on Friday, was this large release coming up from the UK area and coming straight north in the Atlantic Ocean, and then kind of separating, doing a fork here, separating to the left and the right as it swings by Iceland, and this it looks like a hammer. This hammerhead goes towards Greenland, and this part goes off to the east. And then we've got some activity on Svalbard again, and we're still seeing large releases here in the Kara Sea to the east of Novaya Zemlya. And we're going to pull up some other views too that's going to show you these high releases in Europe. So it's been really dramatic watching Europe this week. So here we go with the movie. So now it's in the forecast period, which goes through Wednesday on the forecast period. Okay, now it's smoothing out, and here we see it releasing by Novaya Zemlya, and their forecast periods are pretty accurate. It's based on their data. And then in the forecast period here, notice the lack of methane coming up out of the Kara Sea. I mean, that's the least I've seen it in a long time, but we'll see if the data really pans out to match up with the forecast there. So we're also seeing this arm just come across, and then another rebuild and release out of the UK here. But other than that, the Arctic, over the Arctic Ocean here, looks fairly quiet. Canada looks pretty good. It's still releasing over in this area where the Rocky Mountains come up. Greenland looks good. This east side of Canada looks good. Russia is pretty quiet once we get over to this midpoint and over to the east. Although there is an area right down here that's part of Russia that started really releasing, and right down here too. And we've been seeing it releasing over here in Siberia here. Okay, I'm going to pause that, and now we're going to look at the Europe view. It is quite dramatic. So here we are. Well, it's 3 hours into Saturday is where I got it stopped. Look at the large, it's just covered. This is the UK. This is Ireland, and then over here is France and these other European countries, and it just covers it. and then here's Norway, and then then they're just peppered around coming up. This is Portugal here. This is Spain. This is the top part of Spain, and this is Africa down here, and here's Italy. So this is the Mediterranean Ocean, or Mediterranean Sea. So this line here is the top part of Africa, North Africa. So that's kind of, you get your bearings on that. So let's run this movie. Look how it releases in the ocean. Remember, this is surface level. And then it just streams across here and straight up here. And then look how it streams southwest there. That is really, really dramatic. I've been really watching this Europe just kind of unfold all week. It's been doing this almost every day this week over here in Europe. Okay, that's paused. Now let's hop over to North America. See what's going on. Now, of interest is, look at the line that's the demarcation from the green to the aqua, and the aqua is quite a bit lower readings in methane as we're heading into the western states until you get to California and Washington and Oregon. And then northern Mexico here is in the blue. So we haven't seen that in a while. Also, it's blue over here in the Atlantic rather than the green reading. So let's run this movie. But we are seeing high releases in where it had flooded up here in the Midwest, and also down the Mississippi Valley region, and up in the northeastern United States, high releases, and then down here in Florida as well. Now we're seeing that green wave move out into the Atlantic, and there's another green wave over here, and they meet up in the forecast period. Look at this large release forecast on Tuesday in the Atlantic Ocean, Tuesday and Wednesday. I know the weather is going to be heating up, at least out here in the west where I live. It's going to be heating up. And if it, raining and stuff, that also increases methane levels. Here's the Dominican Republic. Okay, let's show one more view. Let's do global so that people can see what's going on in their part of the world. Still having high releases in the interior of South America and also in the southern portion of South America. Here's China, here's northern India, here's New Zealand. It can be a hot spot with methane as well. It's hard to see it on this view. You have to go to the Australia view to really see New Zealand. So now let's look at 500 HPA, which is equivalent to 500 millibars on what we just saw. So this is what it looks like globally at 500 HPA. We're seeing some red areas come down. Oh, and I have to refresh it to get the different chart, the different ledger. They have a different ledger for all of these, and you can't read that, so whatever. We're actually seeing lower levels up here in Canada, but right next to these darker levels. Remember, this is about halfway up in the atmosphere, about 18,000 feet. And so it's spreading out, and here's some dark areas over Russia and China and different places. But that's what it looks like for 500 HPA. So there's that. So we're going to leave that as a backdrop. And now we're going to head on over to earthquakes. I've got USGS pulled up for all magnitudes for the last 24 hours. We're showing 195 here today. Look at all the activity over here on this ring of fire over on the west side, and over here on the east side as well. And over here, lots, high numbers of earthquakes that are 2.5 magnitude and higher. We have 42. So out of 194, which is a lower number overall that we've seen in a long time, of those 42 are 2.5 magnitude or higher. So let's see what's about to come off the map. This 3.5 near Puerto Rico, 2.9 Sterling, Alaska, and this Yazua, Japan. That one's not till 9 o'clock. So I'd like to start down here in South America. We've got a 4.8 that came in near Aguas Verdes, Peru at 6:04 this evening, 56 kilometers deep. And these times I'm telling you are Pacific time because that's my time zone. Here's a 5.0 near San Antonio de los Cobres, Argentina. This happened at 9:31 this morning, 164 kilometers deep. Here's a 4.1 near San Felipe, Chile at 4:46 this morning, 124 kilometers deep. And a 4.9 near San Javier, Chile at 3 o'clock this morning, 78 kilometers deep. So we're seeing a lot of, most of these earthquakes that we're seeing are high 4s and low 5s. And here's one off the north coast of the northern island of New Zealand. Here's a 4.6 near Margo, New Zealand. This one happened at 10:53 last night, 227 kilometers deep. Next, we've got two here in the Fiji area. Here's a 4.8 near Nadoi Island at 12:27 this morning, very deep, 616 kilometers deep. Now these deep ones, the deeper they are, the more they will make the plates move around the planet. Causes a vibration around the planet. And then a 4.9 near Sagavi, Wallace, and Futuna at 10:09 last night, 22 kilometers deep. Next, 5.4 near Seva-i-Ra, Fiji at 2:24 this morning. Now moving into Papua New Guinea, we've got a 4.8 near Taran, Papua New Guinea at 2:09 this afternoon, 56 kilometers deep, and a 4.7 near Kandrian, Papua New Guinea at 3:58 this afternoon. And let's take a peek. It looks like, well, that's as close as I can get. It looks like that was right on the coast, that 4.8. 4.8 is not big enough to do a lot of damage. You could feel it, but it probably wouldn't do a lot of damage. Here's one. Here's a 4.9 near Namlia, Indonesia at 1:21 this morning, 78 kilometers deep. So that was that one. Now we're over here. Here's a 4.8 near Bambang Lipuro, Indonesia at 9:12 last night. Next, 4.6 near Sabtang, Philippines at 4:16 this morning. Next is a 4.7 near Itoman, Japan at 1:39 this morning, right on the red line. Here's a 4.5 near Didido Village, Guam at 3:10 this afternoon, 187 kilometers deep. And a 4.1 near Bonin Islands, Japan region at 2:14 this morning. Very deep, 489 kilometers deep. Then here's one on the main island of Japan. It was a 4.5, 7 kilometers north-northwest of Yuzawa, Japan at 9:02 last night, 137 kilometers deep. Now here's Fukushima down here. So that's quite a ways, so that Fukushima's not in danger from that. And 4.5 is not huge, but it is showing activity on the island. Then here is a rare reported earthquake on Russia, on mainland Russia, 4.4 near Preobrazhenia, Russia. This came in at 5:47 this afternoon. Very deep, 457 kilometers deep. We don't see many Russia earthquakes reported. Doesn't mean they don't happen. It's just we don't see them reported. Here's a 4.4 near Kurilsk, Russia at 2:24 this morning, 83 kilometers deep. Moving on around, here's a 4.2 near Jarm, Afghanistan at 7:18 this morning, 204 kilometers deep. And the deeper it is, the more it's kind of buffered as far as the shaking and damage and being able to feel it. So I think that's all of those international earthquakes. So that was a bunch. Now we're going to zip over to 2.5 magnitude and higher and look at Hawaii. We've got 3 here today. There's 2.3 at Leilani Estates and 3.0 at Kilauea at a minus 0.4 kilometer depth and a 2.0 at Kilauea. So the number has gone down, but the magnitude got higher there. 3.0, that's getting up there. And now let's, oh, is this one new? Yep, this one just came in. Let's go see what happened down here at Tonga. Here's a 4.6 Naifu, Tonga at 7:06 this evening, 204 kilometers deep. Did we see this one? Yeah, we saw that. Alright, now Dominican Republic area. We've got 13 on the map today. We've got 2.1, 3.4, 2.8, 2.9, 3.3, 2.5, 2.9, 2.9, 2.6, 2.1, 2.9, 2.5, and 3.3 is the last one. That one happened at 3:18 this afternoon. So there's just showing activity there on that Caribbean plate. Now, moving on up to Alaska, including this one down in the Aleutian Islands, we're showing 71 here today. So the number is decreasing. So of those, how many of those are 2.5 magnitude or higher? Seven are 2.5 magnitude or higher. So we're going to start with this one, 4.9 near Tanaga Volcano at 9:31 last night. Then a 2.9 Sterling, 3.0 Valdez, 2.6 Talkeetna, 3.2 Cantwell. This one just happened at 7:04. 2.5 Delta Junction and 3.0 Kobuk at 0 depth. So let's now take a little bit deeper look to all magnitudes. Now here's something. Look at this. We've got some in the ocean in this Norton Sound. Here's a 1.8. The reporting station is Alakanuk, Alaska. And here's a 1.9, and then here's a 1.3 near Nome. Well, it's 118 kilometers away. Nome is over here. The reporting station is Nome, but it's over here, right on the coastline. Here's one up here, 3.4 Kotzebue, and the Kobuk area today we've got 28, and most are in the 1s or low 2s range. We saw that one that was what, 3.0, that was the highest one. And we got, that's counting these 3 over here, so they're just peppered around here today. I think it's spreading out, the movement is spreading out from those deeper earthquakes across the Pacific, because we can see them popping up in these weak points. And we saw from that PDF file that they do mining all across Alaska, and so anywhere they're mining or doing any kind of drilling or anything, it's a weak point in the earth. And so if you've got pressure that moves from one plate to the next, it's going to go to the weak points first. So I think that's why we're seeing it moving around here, kind of spreading out. Anchorage looks pretty quiet today. They only have a couple right in there. So let's leave that and come down into the lower 48. We're going to start down here in Tennessee, 2.2 near Dayton at 5:16 this morning. Then coming across, here's one at the Grand Canyon. .1 near Grand Canyon, Arizona. This happened at 6:47 this morning. We don't see them here very often. I've never been to the Grand Canyon. I've just seen pictures of it. Here it is, the Grand Canyon itself. The bottom of it. And this part. So, well, we know we can have earthquakes there. I guess they can happen anywhere. So Utah looks quiet. That's kind of spooky. Yellowstone is quiet. That's spooky. Look at this. This is so quiet. This is very spooky. Pacific Northwest, totally quiet. Oregon, quiet. Northern California, nothing to write home about. But let's check out our tremors map. In the last 3 hours, look at all those tremors up here by Seattle. 1.6 hours of tremors in the last 3 hours. So it was shaking more than half the time. In the last 24 hours, we've got 14.8 hours of tremors. So again, it's shaking more than half the time. And there's just one little one down here in California, and a couple up here in Canada, and then the rest of them are all right here to the west of Seattle. So don't let this quiet, not seeing anything up here, fool you. Stuff is happening. And the tremors are important because little ones can lead to big ones. We've seen that. And next time, I'm going to share a new article with you about the earthquakes in California. I just don't have time to do it tonight. I wanted to kind of keep this short. We're going to start with this 0.7 near Cold Springs, Nevada. And then here's a 0.8 near Dayton, Nevada. Here's a 0.5 near Smith Valley. So it's Easter Sunday, and the earthquake makers are at home. And we see very little activity. We've got one at Warm Springs, a 1.6, 1.0 Dixon Lane Meadow, 0.6 Goldfield, and 0.6 Hawthorne. And here's some more down in southern Nevada. We've got 6 right here. These are small, under ones. Now, did we get this one? Goldfield, yep, we got that one. Okay, let's see what's happening at the geysers today. We've got 29 here today. Let's see if we have anything 2.5 magnitude or higher. Yes, we do. At the geysers, we've got a 3.1. This happened at 9:38 this morning, and it was 1.9 kilometers depth. That's all we got as far as 2.5 magnitude and higher. But it's covered up under all of those. So the rest of these are pretty small, under 1, mainly under 1 or low ones. Here's a 2.2. And so on. Coming on down this west side, here's a 1.3 near Livermore. Here's a 1.0 near Aromas, right on that San Andreas fault line. 1.2 Pinnacles. 0.7 Parkfield, and then here's 2, 2.1, and a 1.2 Parkfield. Coming on down, here's a 1.3 Vincent, 1.6 Vincent. Now we're coming into Southern California. Here's one across the border in Baja, 1.6 near Progreso. So in Southern California, we're seeing 27 here today. So that number has gone down. We're not seeing quarry blasts and explosions today because those usually happen during the week when the guys are out working, blasting and exploding. So let's come up this east side now. We've got 5 here, 0.5, Little Lake, 1.0 Little Lake. This is actually Coso Junction area. 1.5 Lone Pine, 1.1 Little Lake, and 1.4 Coso Junction. So there's those. So that's calmed down. Nothing in the Mammoth area or Mono Lake. And that's it. Pretty quiet over here today. But you can see how they run right along this line, near this fault line. That San Andreas fault line. Uh-oh, what came in up here? 3.2 Cantwell, we saw that. 2.3 Redoubt Volcano, that one's new. 1.5 Kobuk, that one's new. What's this one? 1.6 Warm Springs. So, we got this one at Tonga, Cantwell. We got that one at Peru. I think that's a wrap. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Oh, before I sign off, we're going to check the level at Oroville. I've been watching this very closely. Let's see if they've got the level for 7 o'clock in yet. Yep. It's 872.05 feet. So that's at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So at midnight, it started at midnight, it was 870. Wait, I'm going to put in 872.05. That's where we are right now. And at midnight last night it was 870.09. So it's gone up 1.16 feet. It hasn't quite been 24 hours. So I'll keep updating everyone. That's still coming up. So that's a wrap for tonight. Everyone knows how I end my shows. I like to say this, I believe we are in the end times, and it's time to get your spiritual house in order while you still have time to do it. So, until next time, go in peace. God bless. Goodbye.